Hey there, fellow knowledge seekers. Get ready for a bit of a time warp. We're
Yeah.
going all the way back to ancient Greece
Right.
for a deep dive into Aristotle's physics.
Sounds good.
We're going to unpack his observations on nature, change,
Well,
and the principles governing our physical world.
I think what's really fascinating is that Aristotle's approach to physics
Yeah.
wasn't really about crunching numbers
Right.
or like defining rigid laws like we often do in, modern physics.
Yeah.
He was much more interested in tackling, you know, the why behind the how.
Okay.
Sort of like a cosmic detective
Right.
searching for the ultimate reasons
Yeah.
behind the universe's movements and changes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So instead of giving us E equals MC squared,
Right.
he's diving deep into the philosophical pool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of a refreshing change of pace.
I know.
It's like he's asking, okay, things move, but TWHY.
Exactly. And to understand change,
Right.
Aristotle developed this framework.
Okay, of what he called the four causes.
Okay.
It's like a special lens he used
Okay.
to examine literally everything happening in the natural world.
4 causes. That sounds like a recipe for a philosophical headache,
Right.
but I'm intrigued.
Well,
Break it down for me.
okay, so think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine you're baking a cake.
Okay.
The material cause
I know
is what
that.
it's made of.
Right.
Flour, sugar, eggs, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
The formal cause is like the recipe.
Okay.
The specific instructions that give the cake its shape and form.
Okay.
The efficient cause is you, the baker.
Right.
Mixing, baking, bringing those ingredients to life.
Yeah.
And finally, the final cause, the purpose.
Yeah.
Well, that's the joy of sharing a delicious cake with friends.
Yeah.
Or maybe satisfying your own late-night cravings.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see the light here.
Yeah.
So he's saying that to understand anything,
Uh-huh.
we need to consider not just what it's made of,
Right.
but also its shape, its origin, and its ultimate purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Aristotle believed these four causes worked together
Mm-hmm.
to explain every single change or process in the universe,
Wow.
from the smallest atom
Okay.
to the movement of the stars.
That makes sense for a cake.
Okay.
But what about things that occur naturally without human intervention?
Okay, yeah.
Like how would this apply to the growth of a tree, for example?
Well, let's break it down.
Okay.
The material cause of the tree would be the seed,
Okay.
the soil,
Uh-huh.
water,
Mhm.
sunlight. Those are the building blocks.
Yeah.
The formal cause would be the specific form of the tree.
Right.
The roots, trunk, branches, leaves, all of that.
Uh-huh.
The efficient cause would be all those natural processes
Okay.
that make it grow.
Okay.
Photosynthesis, nutrient absorption, cell division,
Got it.
and the final cause,
Okay.
the purpose.
Yeah.
For Aristotle, that might be to provide shade,
Yeah.
bear fruit, or even just to fulfill its natural potential.
As a living, growing organism.
That's pretty mind-blowing. I never really thought about
Yeah.
a tree having a purpose in that sense.
Yeah.
But I guess in a way it does, right?
Yeah.
It exists to be a tree, to do all the things trees do.
Right. And this is where Aristotle's concept of nature comes in.
Okay.
He believed that things change not just because of some outside force acting upon them,
Yeah.
but because change is built into their very essence. It's like each thing has an internal drive
You okay?
to become the best version of itself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not just about external forces pushing and pulling,
Exactly.
but also about something inherent within each object,
Right.
driving its development and change.
Exactly.
Got it.
He believed everything in nature strives to reach its full potential, its ultimate purpose.
Okay.
This is what's called teleology.
Okay.
The idea that everything has a goal it's working towards. It's like
Mhm.
the universe is one giant purposeful dance.
That's quite a different way of looking at the world
yeah.
than we're used to.
I know.
Nowadays, we tend to focus more on the mechanisms,
Right.
the laws of physics that govern how things work.
Uh-huh.
But maybe we lose something by not considering the why
Yeah.
as much as the how.
Exactly.
It's like we're so busy dissecting the clock
yeah.
that we forget to ask what time it is.
That's a brilliant analogy.
Really?
I like that.
See.
And that's exactly the kind of thinking Aristotle would encourage.
Uh-huh.
Understanding the purpose, the final cause of things,
Yeah.
can give us a whole new level of appreciation
Oh,
for the
good.
complexity and wonder of the natural world.
So what do you think? Is there still room for this kind of teleological thinking in our modern scientific world?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that sparks endless debate.
Right.
While modern science might not use the same language as Aristotle,
Yeah.
there's still a sense of awe and wonder when we look at the intricate workings of nature.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if we don't attribute, like, conscious intent to the universe, it's hard not to marvel at the sheer elegance and complexity of how everything fits together.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that sense of wonder, that desire to understand not just the mechanisms, but also the deeper reasons behind why things exist the way they do.
Yeah.
That's something that connects us back to Aristotle and his quest to grasp the fundamental principles of the universe.
This has definitely given me a lot to ponder.
Yeah.
It's amazing how exploring these ancient ideas can open up new ways of thinking about the world we live in.
Absolutely.
Well, this deep dive has been quite the philosophical workout.
You know, right?
I think it's time to give our brains a little break.
Yeah.
Come back refreshed.
Okay.
And explore some specific examples of how Aristotle applied his ideas to the world around him.
Sounds good.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right. Welcome back. I feel like before we took a breather, we were really deep in the weeds of Aristotle's 4 causes, trying to apply them to the world around us.
Yeah, it's all well and good to talk about cakes and trees.
Right.
But can these ancient ideas really hold up when we look at more complex phenomena?
Okay.
Like the intricate behaviors of animals. Are we about to see a squirrel baking a cake based on some ancient recipe?
No, that would be a sight to see. But seriously, you've hit on a really crucial element of Aristotle's philosophy of nature.
Okay.
He was deeply fascinated by animals and dedicated a lot of time to observing them.
Okay.
Let's take the example of a bird building a nest.
Okay.
Applying the 4 causes.
Yeah.
The material cause would be like the twigs, the leaves, maybe even some string or mud that the bird uses.
Yeah.
The formal cause is the specific design of the nest.
Okay.
Its shape, size, structure.
Yeah.
The efficient cause is the bird itself. Its instincts and actions driving it to gather the materials and construct the nest.
Okay, I'm following so far.
Yeah.
But what about the final cause?
Okay.
What would Aristotle say is the purpose behind all that nest-building effort? Is it like some grand philosophical statement about avian architecture?
Well, maybe not a grand statement, but certainly a purposeful one. Aristotle would likely say the final cause. The purpose of the nest is to create a safe and suitable environment for the bird to lay eggs and raise its young.
To continue.
It's about ensuring the continuation of its species, playing its role in the grand tapestry of nature.
So even in complex animal behaviors, Aristotle's framework seems to hold up pretty well. But I imagine there are some challenges to applying his ideas to our modern understanding of the world.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
One of the biggest points of contention,
especially from a modern scientific perspective, is this whole idea of teleology. This idea that everything has a purpose. You know, contemporary science tends to view the universe as being governed by impersonal laws, a series of actions and reactions without any inherent purpose or grand design. It's like a giant, intricate machine operating on preset rules.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if Aristotle is looking at the universe through a lens of intention, while modern science is more focused on just the mechanics of how things work.
Right, exactly.
Could there be a way to reconcile these two seemingly contrasting viewpoints? Can we find some kind of middle ground between a universe with a grand purpose and a universe that just is?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What I think is fascinating is that while scientists today might not explicitly talk about purpose in nature,
there's still this undeniable sense of wonder and awe when we observe the universe's intricate workings.
I see what you mean.
You know?
Yeah.
Think about like the delicate balance of ecosystems, the complexity of the human brain, the sheer scale and elegance of the cosmos. Even if we don't attribute a conscious purpose to these things, it's hard not to be struck by the feeling that there's something profoundly meaningful in their existence.
It's like even if we remove the idea of a grand designer or a predetermined purpose, The sheer fact that such complexity and beauty exist at all is pretty mind-blowing in itself.
Exactly. And that sense of wonder, that drive to understand not just how things work, but also why they exist in the way they do.
Right.
That's something that connects us back to Aristotle and his relentless pursuit of uncovering the fundamental principles behind nature's grand show.
So while some of his specific ideas about physics might have faded with time, his overall approach, his curiosity, his desire to find deeper meaning in the world around him, those are timeless.
I agree.
And perhaps even more relevant today than ever before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Aristotle's physics isn't just an ancient text to be studied. It's an invitation to engage in deep thinking, to question our assumptions, and to rediscover that sense of childlike wonder in the face of nature's complexity and beauty.
This deep dive has definitely opened up some new perspectives for me.
Good.
I'm starting to see how these ancient ideas can be incredibly powerful tools for understanding our place in the universe.
It's a reminder that knowledge isn't just about accumulating facts. It's about constantly seeking deeper understanding, challenging our perspectives, and, most importantly, keeping that fire of curiosity burning bright.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
But before we lose ourselves completely in the philosophical clouds, let's bring things back down to earth a bit. And explore how Aristotle's ideas about nature and change played out in his actual observations of the world around him. What did he see? What did he learn?
All right.
And how did he connect the dots? So let's trade our philosophical hats for a magnifying glass and lab coat.
That's good.
It's time to get down to the nitty-gritty.
All right.
How did Aristotle actually put all these grand ideas about nature and change into practice? What did he observe in the world around him?
Well, one area where Aristotle truly shines is in his detailed observations of animals. He was like a protobiologist. Spending years studying their anatomy, behaviors, development.
So he wasn't just an armchair philosopher spinning abstract theories. He was out there getting his hands dirty, taking notes, and really engaging with the natural world.
Absolutely. What's fascinating is that he didn't just describe what he saw. He always went deeper, trying to understand the why behind the incredible diversity and complexity of life.
Interesting.
For example, he noticed that some animals give birth to live young, while others lay eggs. Some breathe air with lungs, while others live underwater with gills. He saw these differences not as random occurrences, but as reflections of a deeper order in nature. Each species perfectly suited to its particular way of life.
So he was trying to find those underlying principles, those connections that explain the patterns he observed in nature.
Exactly.
It's like he was piecing together a giant puzzle, looking for how all the pieces fit together.
Exactly. And that's where his framework of the four causes comes back into play. He'd look at a bird's wings, for example, and say that their shape, the formal cause, isn't just a random accident. It's directly related to their function, to their purpose of flying, the final cause. He saw this deep connection between form and function, between how things are made and what they're meant to do.
So it's not just about the physical structure itself, but about how that structure serves a purpose.
Exactly.
How it helps the animal thrive in its environment. It's like everything has a reason for being the way it is.
Precisely. And this line of thinking is evident throughout Aristotle's work. He studied how animals moved, how they reproduced, how they interacted with their surroundings, always seeking to understand how these behaviors and characteristics contributed to their survival and success. He was a keen observer of the interconnectedness of life. Recognizing that each creature plays a role in the larger web of nature.
So even though some of his ideas about physics might seem a bit outdated to us today, his approach to biology was actually quite groundbreaking.
It was.
And laid the groundwork for later scientific inquiry.
Absolutely.
He was a scientist before the word scientist even existed.
He certainly was a pioneer. His emphasis on observation. His meticulous attention to detail. And his drive to find patterns and connections in the natural world. These are the hallmarks of great scientific minds throughout history. He set the stage for centuries of scientific discovery and exploration.
It's incredible to think that a philosopher from over 2,000 years ago
I know.
could have such a profound impact on our understanding of the natural world.
It is.
He might not have had all the answers.
Right.
But he definitely asked the right questions.
He was a true polymath, a giant of intellectual history.
Yeah.
While some of his specific ideas have been, refined or replaced by later scientific discoveries.
Right.
His philosophical approach, his insatiable curiosity, and his insistence on understanding the why behind the how continue to inspire us today.
I think that's a really powerful takeaway from this deep dive.
Yeah.
Aristotle reminds us that science is not just about collecting facts. It's about asking big, daring questions.
Right.
Embracing wonder.
Absolutely.
And seeking a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I'd like to leave our listeners with this final thought.
Okay.
Aristotle believed that understanding nature wasn't just an intellectual pursuit, but a key to understanding ourselves and our place in the grand scheme of things. So as you go about your day, take a moment to truly observe the world around you, to ask why things are the way they are. And perhaps you too can find a deeper connection to the natural world and tap into that same sense of awe that fueled Aristotle's philosophical journey.
What a wonderful way to wrap things up. This deep dive into Aristotle's physics has not only given us a glimpse into the mind of one of history's greatest thinkers,
it has,
but has also reminded us of the enduring power of observation, curiosity, and the never-ending quest for understanding.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been a pleasure exploring these timeless ideas with you.
Yeah, likewise.
And a huge thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on this journey into the heart of ancient wisdom.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those questions coming.